Hi, Falcons. Today you've probably noticed I look a little bit different. Well, I am dressed as one of my favorite artists of all time. Today I am dressed like Frida Kahlo, who was a famous artist who was known for her self portraits. So I thought it would be fun today if I pretended to be Frida and told you a little bit about my life as Frida Kahlo. So here we go. I am Frida Kahlo. I was born in 1907 in Coyoacán, Mexico, which was just outside Mexico City, and I lived in a beautiful blue house. Now, as I said, I was famous for self-portraits. Self-portraits are paintings that I painted of myself. And a lot of times, I would show my pain that I'd suffered through my life through my paintings. Now, you might notice that some of my paintings don't really look real. That's because I am a surrealist painter. I paint kind of what I see in my imagination and my dreams. I have another example of that I wanted to show you. I painted this painting of a famous scientist, and you could see it was very dreamlike because he wouldn't really grow out of the ground like a tree, but that's just the way I saw things. Now, when I was very little, about 5 years old, I became so sick. I had a disease called polio, and it actually caused one of my legs, my right leg, to be smaller and thinner, and I was always very sick and at home and alone. And even though I had 5 sisters, interestingly, I didn't play with them very much. I preferred my imaginary friend, and I had an imaginary friend, and her name was also Frida. And this is who I spent most of my time playing with. I loved my imaginary friend, Frida. Now, as I said, I had polio as a child, and my parents were very concerned that I build up my strength. So they signed me up for all sorts of sports, just like you might play. And one of the most interesting sports that I participated in as a child was boxing. So I was actually a boxer. As I got older, I was a bit of a mischief maker. And there was a time when I was in school that a famous artist named Diego Rivera was coming to visit. He was coming to visit our school to paint a mural. And as I said, I was a bit of a troublemaker. So while he was working, I would play tricks on him and hide things or glue his lunchbox shut. Or sometimes I would yell out, "Old Fatso!" Now, little did I know that years and years later, I would fall in love and marry that old fatso. And here's a painting I painted on my wedding day to Diego Rivera. People often called us the elephant and the dove. Why do you think people called us that? Now, back to my childhood. I was often bullied because of my legs being different sizes. So I would wear long skirts because people were not nice. They would call me Pato el Palo, which means peg leg. And that really hurt my feelings. So I always wore long skirts and traditional Mexican clothing to hide my legs. Now again, Tragedy struck me when I was 18 and I was coming home from school. I was on a bus, and that bus was in a terrible, terrible accident. And here's a picture of how I would see that accident. Now, that accident caused a hole to go through my entire body, and I was very, very lucky to survive because some people didn't survive that crash. But I was one of the lucky ones. But I had to spend months in bed, and that is where my true love of painting began. My parents brought me a mirror to keep over my bed, and I used to paint pictures of myself all of those months. Now you might notice I have a bit of a unibrow, but I actually love it and think it's beautiful because I felt it looked like an eagle soaring into the sky. Soaring into the sky, which is something I would have loved to do all those months that I was trapped in my bed healing. And even after I healed as best I could, I always, for the rest of my life, needed to walk with a cane, and I was in constant pain. And so I often painted myself in pain. You can see that I have the shackle around my neck. That's showing my pain. I would show my pain through my art. I never cried or complained. I would show my pain through my paintings and my self-portraits. What else did I want to share? Whoops! I think I said a lot about my life and the things I wanted to share with you. Here's another picture of Diego and I. I actually lived to be 47 years old. I died in 1954. And you may also notice, I forgot to tell you, I wasn't real happy with my teeth. So often in my portraits, I do not paint myself smiling. And when photographs were taken of me, I also didn't smile very much. This was my typical look. Now, I know that it is Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are going to be doing some wonderful projects inspired by my self-portraits. And I hope you learned a lot about me today and had some fun.